Hello everyone, welcome to Heartlines. This is our space where we discuss everything relationship and love. And I'm your host, Franca. With me on the show today, I have Tomi Akimbobola. Are you good? Feel free, relax.
I'm good.
And I have Precious or there. Precious, how now? Hello, Precious, can you hear me?
Good evening.
Good evening, how
Yes, I
now?
can.
I like
Oh,
how
yes, I
subtle
do.
your voice is.
I'm
How
fine.
now?
I'm so tired. Today was a
Yakbele.
day.
Yakbele. You
Where's
need a,
your face now?
you need a
Tommy,
massage.
good evening. You're just
Hi,
looking
darling.
relaxed.
How are you?
Ooh, maybe I do.
Where's
I'm
your face? How
fine.
come, how
Tommy,
come
I
you can
need a
say
massage.
someone is jealous that I called you darling?
It's not. I'm not just because you call it. Why did you have to dip in your?
Is it the person beside
It's
you?
the person, one yellow person beside me.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you what he did. He was talking normally when he wanted to say, "Oh, so how are you? How are you?"
They judge me.
Please,
Divine Toad came
I
out.
don't have the energy for you, I beg. I
You know.
swear, I don't have the energy
I
for
thought Sajo
you.
was online too.
Do we have Sajo? I don't think we have Sajo. Not at the moment. We don't have Sajo. Maybe he will join in. Okay, so today we're discussing building resilience in relationship. I honestly, I'm not going to be part of this conversation because I don't know how to build it. I don't know why you have to build it. Precious, I don't know why you have to build resilience because that's just you saying build a coping mechanism, or do you understand? That's just you saying build a coping mechanism for bad behavior. Isn't that what
Yes,
it is?
that's the way you feel.
It's a coping
No,
mechanism for it's a coping mechanism for bad behavior. Do you understand? Which is why I will not be part of this conversation. I'm just going to ask questions and understand better why it should be there. Precious, do you have a different
I'm here.
do you have a different explanation for this?
So I know we're talking about relationships and resilience, but there are things that the relationship will throw at you that does not have anything to do with the character of your partner. So it's not about, building resilience for bad behavior. No, it's about the things that life can throw at you when it
E.g.
has to do with relationships. So as we go on, let's see what it will be.
No, tell us those things. We've started.
Okay. So there are things that relationship will throw at you that so one of the things is, let's say you come from a home where arguing was not a thing, and then you now go into a relationship with a partner who argues about everything. You're going to have to build resilience in patience. So you're going to have to be more patient. Resilience is not just that you have to be resilient in a skill or in a character. So you're going to have to be more patient towards this person, try to understand why this person is arguing about everything, and then understand how to respond to this person to always diffuse the argument so it does not escalate.
Is that not the same thing as coping mechanism to bad? Is arguing about everything not a bad character?
It can be a bad character.
So I think what Bershos is trying to say is resilience is not always necessarily a coping mechanism, right? Now,
Yes.
like she said, life can throw some things at you. Okay. Now, maybe for some reason you both are working, and someone has to make out time to go pick. Correct me if I'm wrong, Precious. Someone has to pick out time to go and pick the kids from school, even though it's not convenient. I think that's been resilience,
But that's coping.
but it's not a negative coping.
So, but you see,
Because
you
where you're coming
can.
from, you are saying there shouldn't be resilience in the relationship.
No, I'm not saying there shouldn't be resilience. I'm saying why does it have to be? Because you see,
Okay, why does that
you have
become
to build?
resilience?
Why do you exactly? You said say building resilience in relationships. That means it's something you're not used to.
Yeah, so, like I said, it's a situation that just came up. They're not used to
Exactly,
it.
you're not used to it, so you have to. So my point is, somebody has to go and pick somebody from school. It should not be a big deal.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a big deal.
It's not something that you should. It doesn't have to be you. It doesn't have to be one person. One person can do it today, the other person can do it tomorrow.
Yes.
So why do I have to build resilience for that?
Okay, so resilience is like adapting. So we're not
Exactly,
saying
it's
that it
coping.
must be you all the time, but something can come up
So listen
and
to
you're
what I
not
said.
able to. So should I not get offended
No, listen to what I said. I
that my
said,
partner could not go to pick and he shifted the responsibility?
no, listen to what I said. So I said, resilience is a coping mechanism by default towards certain things that you might not be happy about or are happy. It really, once you are now trying to cope, it's not something that is convenient for you, whether you like it or
Yeah.
not. You understand? And then when they tell you to build resilience, let me tell you what building resilience is: building patience.
So anything wrong in building patience?
You don't. Well, see, there are things naturally. If
It's
it's
not
something,
just building patience.
is what?
It's not just building patience. It's adapting to the current challenge or the current. So it can be a challenge. It can be a traumatic, whatever. It can be a setback. So it's not just um, um, a challenge. It can be so many other things.
Building resilience in relationships.
Whilst being positive about it.
So you have to be. So you're just you're
Thank you,
telling
Tony.
yourself.
God bless you.
Yeah.
You're telling yourself, you know what? Yes, you're telling yourself
You
it's
can
not
do
that
it.
bad.
You can do it.
It's not that bad. And see, they didn't say in life. They didn't say personal. They say in relationships. So it's not about you.
But relationship is life.
Exactly. Come on.
No, you don't get my point. Relationship.
But relationship is life.
They have different kinds of relationships. Okay, so for example, Precious, give us an example. Building resilience in friendship. When we say relationship, it's totally so friendship. Building resilience in friendship. Tell me, oh yeah, Precious. People should explain. Like I said, I don't know anything. People should explain.
Okay, you've already said it. So for instance, we can say, let me see, what kind of example would I give? Okay, I have a friend who, for instance, I have a friend who behaves, what kind of behavior, what kind of characteristics will I use now? Behaves in a certain way. You know, we have friends around us that I don't want to use the word manage, so it does not get mis.
My darling, use it because that's what it
I
is.
want to say
So it's
that
becoming.
we
So
know
that
how
means
to
it's already
navigate
becoming. It's
around
becoming
it.
a coping mechanism already.
It's a coping
the direction you're going
mechanism.
to.
It's a coping mechanism.
Yes, but it's not always a coping mechanism because you can learn
Exactly.
how to navigate certain challenges. You don't always have to cope. That's what we're trying to say, Franca. You don't
Okay.
always have to cope. You
Exactly.
can learn how to navigate, how to dodge the thing.
Okay.
It's not every problem you face head on.
You know, in a relationship now, being
So this
resilient.
person
Go
now
ahead.
decides that she wants to be a troublemaker. I can actually avoid her.
So
Yes, so you navigate, you avoid, and no, Tommy, continue. Yes.
Yeah, so resilience can be two ways. It has a positive side and it has a negative side. Now, on the positive side, two people in a relationship might have a goal.
Yeah.
Maybe they want to achieve something, you want to make a certain amount or whatever it is. They have a plan, and they're going to be very resilient about engaging and achieving that plan. That's also being resilient, and it's positive. It's not coping. I won't call that coping. It's a mission for them, and they're going to be resilient about it.
No, so I want us to understand what this topic is. Now, when you say that, it's about people building resilience in issues of life. You understand? When we say building resilience in relationship, it has to do with two people, basically. Let's leave certain things out. It's about two people, you coping, having to deal with someone else. You and I as an entity, you and I as a couple. Yes, in this context. That's why it says building resilience in relationship. Knowing how, so managing people. Do you understand? Coping with people, managing relationships, trying to make it work. You don't just give up on the relationship just like that. You try and make it work to an extent. And if you have tried everything possible and it's not working, then you know that, oh, you have tried. You have tried to build, that's what this is. So what discussing how, so because we're saying
But
that.
in that context, then resilience will lead to resentment.
Exactly. That's what we're trying. That's why I said that it's not, if you have to build it, because let me tell you what I think. I feel that if two people are on the same page, it's easier.
Exactly.
If you and I understand that, you would take a bullet for me and I'll take a bullet for you. Both of us are doing things simultaneously. As much as I'm trying to build something, you're also trying to build something. It makes life easy. Do you understand? So we're both building as couples. But then the downside to it is if one person is trying to manage one person, if the person doesn't understand that that person is coping, down the line, you see that that person is drained out. And after a while, the person becomes tired, burnt out, and it's not even, the person just shuts down. Because that person is tired of giving excuses, of explaining to, because when you're building resilience, this is what happens. You're speaking to yourself. You're the one telling yourself, you know what, I can do better. It's not what it is. The other person is not the one helping you build it. You're the one working on it. And sometimes it gets tiring. So that's why initially I said, I honestly do not understand why it is building resilience in relationship. It should be about talking about things. Do you get my point, Precious? Let's talk about things. Let's talk about things. Let's iron things out. Let's be on the same page. Do you understand? Let's know what you can take and what I can't take. If we know that from the onset, and then we now say, okay, this is what it is, but at least we know what it is. But let's not abuse that word resilience and then one person suffers before you know the person goes into depression. That's why I said yes. So that's why I'm coming from. So that is why I'm not a party to it.
So if you're not a party to it, I'm not a party to it, Petra's not a party to it, how do we talk about it?
No, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying I won't discuss it. Okay. I'm saying that's why I'm saying I do not believe in telling people
to build resilience.
Deal with whatever issue it's on ground.
Actually, yes.
Talk about issues. Stop
honest communication.
Yes. Stop giving excuses for people. Because even the excuses you're giving might not be necessary if you talk about it.
Actually.
You understand? So that's
true.
Yes, because when you continue to give excuses, the person will just do one strong thing. You don't have an excuse to give. Then what do you now say? You now start worrying about, am I the person who is not okay? I think we have Sajo. Sajo, good evening. So my point is, yes, it's okay.
Yes, you have me. Good evening.
Good evening, my
Good evening,
chairman.
Sajo.
Good evening.
Sheko Wale. Shall I bring my hand down?
Okay. Yes, please bring your hands down.
Take it back
Good
up.
evening, everybody.
Sajo, how are you?
I'm good.
Okay, so Sajo, let's hear your thoughts on building resilience in relationship.
Okay, I've been listening to you, but I think I have a whole different view about the topic. Now, building resilience for me means the capacity of the relationship, not the individuals, the capacity of the relationship to bounce back from all stretch.
Okay.
Yes, situations, circumstances could stretch a relationship. It is capacity to return back stronger and better that my understanding of building resilience in relationship is. Now, what you have been talking about has been an individual enduring or soaking in stress forced on him or her by her spouse or partner. But that's not what I understand. Maybe I'm getting it wrong, but
No, you're right, sir.
I mean, speaking to this topic, my understanding is that it is the capacity of the
Both.
relationship itself, not the individuals. The relationship coming back. Now, what plays in my head in such situations would be when maybe one of the partner is hit with something that we think could break the relationship. Let's say ailments, or one loses job, or something very tough that can shake the relationship to its very foundation, and then they are able to come together, weather through it, and come out of it stronger. So that's my understanding, and I hope I'm speaking to the topic as intended
Okay, so
by
Joe,
our
yes, so
very dear
yes, so that could be part of it,
anchor.
but in general, even in a relationship, even if they get hit by, it's about them working together as a team. Individuals are in that team. It is a choice thing. So if one person is not willing to be part of that team, to be a team player, it will not work, which is why we have to deal with individuals first before we now talk about them as a team. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Okay.
Because,
Now,
yes, because,
now, now, my philosophy of marriage is a bit different.
yeah, because you're
Um,
different.
the individuals must die. No, the individuals must die to create um, a new structure. What I mean is that if Tommy was married to Franca, Franca must not physically die. Franca must be killed. Toby must be killed in their individualistic nature for them to create a Toby Franca being, which they will now both water daily for it to grow and blossom.
Sajo, I agree with you. That is what a definition of marriage is supposed to be, but is that what it is?
No, that is not what it is in so many cases.
Okay, thank you. So
And
if
and
we're
unfortunately, um,
I see what you're doing there.
okay.
Sajo say okay.
I saw what she does
And he
there.
doesn't want to argue. He has said
I saw
no.
I saw I saw what you did. So
No, but see,
well done.
so but
I'm actually a passerby, so let me retreat.
No, Sajo, we
no,
need
but
you.
Sajo, it's okay to explain, but so what we're trying to do is state it so that people going through it can understand it. Your definition of marriage is fantastic, but that's not what we're dealing with here. Tommy doesn't die and Franca doesn't die to become one. We go into it as individuals. That's what it is, which is why we're having a lot of problem, which is why what you even have to preach resilience. Because the truth is, if you go in as a
That is
Franca and
why that is why that is why the family law practice is going to be one of the most lucrative practices in the nearest future. I said to you, without trying to push the panic knob or make people feel uncomfortable, over 60% of the marriages today will collapse in the next 5 to 10 years. And that is because people are still emphasizing their individuality in marriages. You know, it's like this is an adult this is an adult podcast, I suppose. It's like um, carnal interaction or sexual interaction. For you to get the best of it, Mr. A's primary intention will be to please Mrs. B, and Mrs. B's primary intention will be to please Mr. A. Now, if that is not the realistic push for both of them, they could end up having sex, but they will not collectively achieve that extreme unusual orgasm which sex should be about. Because if my intention is to satisfy myself sexually, and your intention is to satisfy yourself sexually, we will not achieve it. But if I'm putting all effort to satisfy you, and I'm lucky enough that you are putting the same effort to satisfy me, then we'll hit that cloud. Is it cloud 14 now? You know, some people stop at 9,
At 9.
but those who advance get to 14.
Wow.
Never did reach 24.
Now, the point I'm making, put differently, now, which is like when they get that far, put, put differently, put differently, whether we accept the ideal or the reality, you see, in every relationship, we pursue the ideal. We may not be there, we may not get there, but in our subconsciousness, we know what the ideal looks like. We envision it, and then we want to achieve it. The ideal, which some of us have actually achieved, thankfully, is bearing our individuality into a collective whole, pursuing a common cause that will be for the greater good of the whole than emphasizing our individual needs and our selfish quest. So I will always look resilience, building resilience in relationship as that which targets the whole than emphasize the individual.
Okay.
What I mean in essence is that we must all summon our energy because unfortunately for relationships, unfortunately I say with all sense of modesty, we all are not strong at the same time. There are times where I will have to depend on you to carry us on, either emotionally, psychologically, and in very rare cases, financially. And there are times where you will wholly depend on me to carry us on. As a matter of fact, there are times where I will be on zero love. Because over time, we have created the impression that love is like a continuous spring that runs unending. It's not true. There are days you wake up and you look at the spouse and say, why on earth did I marry this pain?
Na juju.
That's true.
Na
That's
juju.
very
Isn't
true.
this isn't this the worst decisions I've made in my life? And in that period where you're in your lowest ebb, either as a lover or financially or emotionally or psychologically, it is that point where you need him to up his 50 to 80 or sometimes 90 to carry you on. And when you're able to recharge and you're not properly energized, he or she can drop while you now start running on your 80 or 92. So is that resilience to keep building and to sustain that I think I would rather speak about that than speak about how people have to struggle through life for the good of the other. No, that would be very unfair. If you are building resilience as an individual, you're actually building a destructive tendency that would do the relationship no good. Because the moment I begin to build that me, either to survive or to cope with your ineptitude and your bad character.
Resentment will
What
come in.
happened? Exactly.
Resentment. Yes.
And nobody can cope for too long. I cannot endure your rubbish. Don't tell me that is who you are, that is how you live. No. I'm not here to endure rubbish. I'm here for us to chisel out those excuses. Try to achieve a perfect answer so that we can become perfect for each other.
Okay,
Not for
Sergio.
me to endure your bad behavioral pattern that you have inherited from dysfunctional relationship or broken hearts over time. No, it's not my duty to do that.
Okay, Sergio. So, but before you go, so
Ma.
I totally understand where you're coming from, and I agree with you if that's what is applicable right now, but that's not what is applicable. Just a few people will understand or practice what he just mentioned. Now, and I also like the fact that you mentioned that You said how many percent of marriages are going to break up in another 5 years?
Over 60
Over 60%, which is half of the
Damn.
marriage, which is, for me,
of the ones
60.
you know today.
Yes, 60 is a lot. Sajo,
It's more
and
than half.
it's
Yeah.
more than half. And you would agree that they are going to break up because of their attitude towards marriage. Right?
Okay. In part, yeah. In
Yeah,
part,
in
yeah.
part, yes. So that's because they haven't come into marriage with the right information or the right attitude. Sajo, now, for those people, if we're discussing building resilience, how does that work for that 60, that 60%?
Now, the only way out of that unfortunate situation is to, if you're lucky again, you see, there's only how far you can go alone in life, particularly in a relationship. You cannot, and I repeat it, you cannot continually give 80%. It is not even remotely sustainable. So if you give your 80% over a period of time, you will drain out, you will burn out. And once you
Yes.
burn out and you're not being recharged by your partner, then you become numb to your reaction to things runs to zero, you become numb, and then it becomes an exit. The fear I do not have fear with exits. I think I've done too many divorce matters to become sort of insensitive to the word dissolution of marriage. At the last count, I've done over 50 to 60 divorce matters.
In how many
Wow,
years?
that's a
So
lot.
I've practiced law for over 23 years, man. But
Okay,
I'm
so
saying that in the
so that
past five, as a matter
5
of fact,
years.
now, let me shock you. I have done more divorce in the past 5 years than I have done in the preceding 15 years of my practice.
So there's a decay going on.
There's a divorce pandemic
And Sajo, why do you think that is?
because of the quest to emphasize individualism.
Do what makes you happy.
You can't be. You see, it's like the Catholic Church, right? It's like the Catholic Church where we have what we call sacraments. Now, you have the baptism, which we all go through. You have the Holy Eucharist. You have the Holy Communion. At a point in your pursuit towards the sacrament ladder, you can either veer off to the Holy Order, that's priesthood, or you veer off to the Holy Matrimony. In my humble view as a Catholic, I do not think any of the order is superior to each other. I feel that we just choose the path that will serve the purpose of God in our life as we understand it. Now, the point I'm trying to make is that you cannot choose self and still elect to be married. The moment you decide, and that is where we're getting it wrong in our society, not everybody should be married. We all should not be married. The moment you decide that I am going to get married, you have automatically sacrificed that self for the whole. You have sacrificed it, and it even gets worse when you decide that, oh, after marriage, I'm going to have kids. You sacrifice more. So it keeps getting lesser of you for the greater good of the whole. However, we live in a world where human beings are inherently selfish and unrepentantly evil in their quest. If you find yourself in such unfortunate situation where you are giving your all in the common pool, believing that you will also tap from there when you are drained, and then someone is punching holes in that common pool and sucking it out of the system, then you will either die of drought or look for it to exit that space so that you can have something to recharge yourself. If I have my way, I'll begin to preach reduction of marriage. There's nothing, yes, there's nothing exciting about getting into marriage and getting out, particularly when you have now decided to have children, because total damage will be on the children. You don't have to be married. If you want to have kids, have one or two, and then move on with your life. If you know that you do not have capacity to grow the whole, if you know that you are too individualistic, and all that matters to you is yourself, your growth, your love for self, what they call self-love now. If that is all you are about, then hang on there. Don't get married. Live your life and be fulfilled. But the moment you choose to get married, you cannot have both. You can't eat your cake and have it, except you are a politician in Nigeria. But you can't eat your cake and have it here. If you
Okay, so
decide to get into this, understand that there are rules here. Yes.
okay, so in all honesty, I think it's a very serious issue that needs to be addressed because a lot of people don't know why they are married. People don't know why they got into marriage, or people don't know what the institution of marriage is. Some people just go into
Exactly.
marriage, yes, some people just went into marriage or go into marriage because they want somebody to provide for them. Some other people just go into marriage because they want somebody to have children for them. People just went into marriage because they want to say they have a wife and that they have children. And like I said from the onset, which is why I don't believe in that building of resilience in the context of individuality. I do not believe in it. I was very clear about that. If it's as a team, then it would make more sense to me because two people are working towards achieving something. But when you
Yeah.
individualize it, it is a problem for me because you're telling somebody to navigate challenges, try a coping mechanism for bad behavior. That is what it is. Do you understand? So, but the truth,
Exactly.
yes, that's what it is. So, but the truth is, how do we now begin to educate people on these issues? Because 60% is a large number.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot. So,
That's a lot.
is it that there's nothing that can be done? Is it that even in the whole coping or building the whole coping resilience and all, building resilience and all that, how do we do it? Do we get, because I think you have to attack them from the brain.
And how do you do that?
What I mean is, you have to start from the brain in the sense that they need to understand it because some people don't understand it. Some people go into marriage with entitlement, that sense of entitlement. And you can't change some of these things, you know. So my
Yeah.
question is, how do we save the 60% out there that needs to understand that it is not about one person, you understand, building resilience or one person making sacrifices. It would never work if the other person is not willing. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is a saint. There's nobody that doesn't make mistake. So I don't understand how two people will be in a relationship and one person thinks that it's the other person that is a problem. You don't have problems. How does that work? So Sajo and Precious. Sajo is a counselor and is a lawyer. Precious is a counselor, marriage and family and sex counselor. What do we do to save that 60% of couples out there that their marriage are going to
Tommy is
break up
what?
in? Sorry?
And Tommy is what?
Tommy is a
Nobody was feeling left out.
A bad guy.
It's okay.
So it's a bad guy.
Tommy
You have
is
the floor.
a
You have the floor
is
today.
a
It's
key
okay.
is a key account officer in Coca-Cola.
Oh, voila.
Okay,
You know?
so
Yeah, so that's 60%. How do we save? What is the message we're driving? How do we save that 60% of marriages out there to say that, you know what, if you know you want your marriage to work, this is what you need to do? How do we do that?
okay, so I'm going to say this, and It's going to be both an answer and a question. The question will be directed at Sergio because he has experience, especially as it has to do with him being a lawyer and the divorce cases. We are so concerned, especially in this part of Africa, Nigeria, about
You a fool.
the institution marriage that, like Sergio said, there are particular things that are not being talked about, discussed. So people don't go for counseling, premarital, and even inside the marriage. So I would say, so now is as an answer, yes, even inside the marriage, you can still go for counseling. There are challenges that you will come across that would want to break you. Please seek help from professionals. Now, Sergio, are there, as it has to do with the law, so if someone comes to you or a couple comes to you and they're on the brink of divorce, because we're talking about the percentage that are actually going, to that are actually getting divorced. When they come to you, is there any training, any counseling that they can go through from the side of a lawyer? Because most times they don't seek the counsel of a therapist. They go straight from problem to divorce. So when they come to you being the lawyer, is there something that you have put in place to say, look, I understand people want to get divorced, but can you do this, do this, do this, do this before we now talk about divorce?
Okay, so before Sergio takes that question, let's quickly go on a break. Please, let's go on a break. And when we come back, Sergio would answer that.
Stay tuned. Heartlines would be right back.
This season on Heartlines, we're committed to making a difference in people's lives. So Heartlines, in partnership with Reda Consult, is offering 12 free slots of counseling every quarter for people in need of professional counseling. Additionally, we're taking on 2 pro bono cases for individuals navigating a challenging divorce. To participate, please send an email to counsel@vedaconsult.com with your story. Our team will carefully review all submissions and will contact all the shortlisted candidates. Heartlines is live Mondays to Fridays at 10 p.m. So engage with us.
Thanks for staying with us on Heartlines.
Okay, so please know that you can share your story via our WhatsApp number 08190384663 or join in the conversation live. You can call us on 070250077749 or 0701424220. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV, and you can watch us live on Go TV, DSTV, and Star Times. Sergio, I know that we've had a conversation regarding this, and I know you said you have something called the venting room, but I will leave you to talk about it. I know you have mentioned something about the venting room, how you get couples to go, have a conversation there before they go ahead with their divorce. But please, let's hear you answer Precious's question. Hello, Sergio, are you there? Sergio, can you hear me?
Whilst we wait for...
Okay, so while we're waiting for Sergio to come back...
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm here. I didn't go anywhere. I wanted to feel I was not with you. Now, Precious question is with respect to the law. Right, Precious? Did I get that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Whether there are safeguards provided by provided in the law that would help them have a conversation before dissolution. Yes, there is. You see, before you file a petition for dissolution of marriage, The law requires you as a lawyer to first of all advise your client, advise your client on the need to sustain a marriage, counsel and do everything within your power to foster reconciliation. If that fails, if your client insists that no, I think I'm done, I'm at a point where this is irreconcilable, because under Section 15 of Act, the only grounds upon which marriage can be dissolved in Nigeria
Differences.
is that the marriage has broken down irretrievably. The marriage has broken down irretrievably. And there's no hope to recover therefrom. After you have filed the petition, the other party will get what they call answer to petition. Now, if he or she files the answer to your petition, the law also requires of both of you now counsels for the petitioner and counsels for the respondent to engage in compulsory conference with your clients. So you, the petitioner and his or her counsel, the respondent and his or her counsel sit on a round table and have that conversation again. And the first question we tend to ask there is there anything we can do, or is there any help we can render that will lead to reconciliation? Now, when you have crossed that hurdle, after you have put in all your legal expertise and see how you can reconcile and it fails, that is the only time you can now go into trial. And even at trial, the judge, most courts in Lagos now, when they are sitting as family court, they sit with us. The court can still say, oh, no, I'm not satisfied. These are your couple. I think we can refer them to the multi-door or to the ADR, where they can have a conversation around the dissolution or the ancillary reliefs to dissolution, like maybe maintenance, custody, family property, alimony, whatever the claims are.
Okay.
Okay, so I think what Precious wants to know really, Precious, let's not make it about the law. So at any point, because I feel sometimes people are not well informed. And because most people are already aggravated, angered, resentment, they don't want to listen. So those things would cloud their judgment even in certain conversations. So I don't think at that point you're able to communicate properly with somebody who already has a notion or an idea that this person is taking him or her for granted, or that he's not important, or that the person is of no value to him or her, or that the person is not what he... there are a lot of issues around this thing. And I know, Sergio, that you had mentioned that... Sergio, I'm listening.
Yeah, but from experience, so I had done this task over time, and I don't know whether it was guilt or at the point I felt I should also give back to marriages. Then set up the benchroom. Because it occurred to me that over time, there are really no serious issues in marriage other than communication.
Yeah.
If you're able to put them together and have them listen to each other, just listen, not listen to react, listen to know. Think able to actually sit down as human beings and listen with clear intentions of, okay, let me try and help this spouse of mine or this wife of mine or husband of mine. They are naturally able to understand that the problems that they have so amplified may not be real on the one hand, or may not be as exaggerated as they feel is. That is where therapy is very important. Counseling is very important because most times we all would understand this easily. When we engage in conversation post quarrels, we don't listen to each other. We don't listen. We just want to shoot back shots. If you curse my mama or curse your papa, we want to hurt each other with words, as though we are competing on who strikes harder. Whereas we should be competing on who can heal the other better. So if you are able to put them in a place where they can engage with minimal rules of, okay, you know what, can we have this conversation without any negative words? Can we be polite? Can we be civil? Can we be respectful? What is it that Tommy has done that hurts you, Franca? And Tommy, don't say a word. Franca goes, grrr. Tommy, do you understand what Franca has said? Do you really understand? No, do you understand her pain? Yes, I do. Okay, can you tell us what you understand as the pain that Franca has expressed? It's called that you have to repeat that series like 3 or 4 times before he's really able to capture what Franca has expressed.
So from what Sergio just explained, in all honesty, instead of us to tell people to build resilience, let's advise people to seek help.
Yes.
Before seeking help, let them communicate.
They might not be able to communicate.
That's what, they cannot hear each
They
other.
cannot
That's
hear
why I
each
asked the
other.
question.
Do you understand?
They need
You
a
can't hear each
mediator.
other. So they need a mediator. So that is why it's okay to
Yes.
seek help. Now, there's a thing about therapy in this part of the world. A lot of men don't see reasons. Tommy, for one, doesn't see any reason why you should go to a therapist. But now, do you see are you beginning to appreciate why you need to see a therapist?
Actually, yes.
Not necessarily because it's to clear your head, to make you see things from different perspectives.
When you can communicate, then I think it's
Yes.
It is not only when you can't communicate.
Not necessarily a therapist, a third person.
So just meeting anybody is also dangerous because
Oh, true.
the person is not able to you're not supposed to be judgmental when you're doing these things. You're just supposed to be neutral and let them communicate.
Yes.
So that's why you need a professional. So instead of us to advise people to build resilience, why don't we tell people to seek help? In the sense that there's therapy. Even if you need to get a lawyer, do you understand? Get a lawyer who will talk to both parties, not about divorce, but about trying to reconcile and rebuild what you have. Do you understand? I don't, so lawyers are about the money. Sometimes, Sajo, sorry, but lawyers sometimes are about the money. Not Sajo particularly, I'm just saying. You heard him when he said he thought of giving back, which is why he created the bench room. But lawyers are about, you know what, if you want a divorce, get a divorce. They are not trying to mend relationships. No, they're not trying to do that. So when I say meet a lawyer, it's not every lawyer you should go and meet because they will scatter everything, pata pata. But because people don't like that word therapist,
Therapist, yeah.
do we have marriage coaches?
We do.
Okay, so I don't know. But somebody who would guide, who would make you understand that this is what this person is saying. And trust me, if you see people who have gone for these things, their relationships are always better.
Yes.
Because now they understand that sometimes the person's problem is not about you. The person is trying to deal with something. You understand? So why are you taking out so much? Because I think some people don't even know why they do certain things. When they're angry, they're just trying to get back at somebody. They're trying to prove a point. They're trying to make you... People have different ways of trying to make you feel their importance. So they just do stupid things. You know? So instead of telling people, be patient, it will get better. It will never get better except to seek for help. Not talking about it's not going to make it better. Trying to navigating it or a coping mechanism doesn't make it better, which is why from the onset I said it makes it worse. So finding a solution is what everybody needs to cope in every relationship, not resilience. Yeah, so when you have done that, so don't get me wrong, I'm not saying resilience is bad, but when you guys are on the same page and you're building resilience as a couple, like Sergio said, then it makes more sense to me. Not as individuals. Do you understand?
That's where I speak to. As a couple, yes.
Yes, as a couple, that is what I have always said from the onset.
As a person, individual,
it would never work.
Rather, it just leads to resilience.
Yes, it would. That has been my stand. That's why I said I don't know about it. But so Precious, we have. Okay, Precious, you want to say something? Yeah, we have about 2 minutes left.
Yeah. So we're all saying the same thing. Seek professional help. So go to a lawyer who is trained in conflict resolution. Go to a marriage counselor, someone who will not be biased, who will actually say, okay, yes, as a mediator to say, Mr. A, Oya, speak, Miss B, have you heard, and all of that. And at the bottom line, understand that you are trying to build your relationship to go from one level to another.
Okay.
So as long as you have the good of your relationship at heart, I think if you go through professional help, you would come out on top.
Yes, if the honest truth is, if you even have your relationship, if you actually want to build a relationship, I don't think there's a big deal in therapy. You would not see therapy as a big deal, honestly. Okay, no. Is Sergio there? Does he want to say something? Sergio, you want to say something? Okay. Okay, so Tommy, you want to say something? Well, we have like about 30 seconds left.
Precious said it all. Essentially, yeah, I just feel in a relationship, you should just try to see your spouse as someone who's trying to make things work. It's not about you, it's about them. If you have that kind of mentality, you can always walk up to your spouse and, try to hear what they have to say, and that way it gets better. And of course, we need to change our mentality towards, what do you call it, therapists. It's okay to...
Starting with you, young one. Okay, so please note that you don't have to bear your burdens alone. Our free counseling service are still available and we're just a message away. So send an email to us on counsel@vedaconsult.com and let us help you heal. We have people to attend to you like ASAP. So we see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, last day of the week. See you tomorrow. Bye.